Mr. Bill.
Rocky, nice to see you. How are
You too, Simon. Good to meet you, sir.
Nice to meet you.
How was the trip?
Great trip.
Yep.
Really good.
Very straightforward. No traffic really.
Very
Left
nice.
early this morning and got a clear rundown.
Very good.
So,
Well,
really
welcome
pleased.
to the store.
Nice to be here.
Sure.
Nice to be here. Yeah.
Well, let me take you on a little tour of the shop here. And over here, of course, we have all of our tartan books from the lovely mills. Our favorite mill, of course, on the end. People come over, we have our computer here so people can see all the different options, kind of piece the outfits together and things.
So that's basically use that as a selection process for the customer, where they'll put a kilt, a jacket, or the tartan, the
Correct.
jacket,
This
the
is
socks, everything together.
This is where we whittle down the tartan. So if somebody says, okay, well, I want 16 ounce House of Ever fabric, or I want this particular tartan, then it's okay, fine. Here, let's show you all the different books. So we'll lay the books out there, lay them on the table, and kind of let them compare side by side what they want for theirs, and they just kind of whittle it down to, well, this is the one.
And do they normally come in knowing what they want and knowing what they're looking for here, or do you have to give them a lot of help on the process?
A lot of times they have an idea, but they're coming to us sort of tabula rasa. They know they want to look good. They know I have a family tartan. I want to do something with that maybe, but it's not, I want Loch Heron 13 ounce, or I want House of Edgar 13 ounce. It's, I'm a McDuff.
Yes.
Tell me what to get. And we kind of educate them. It's part of why we do the videos and stuff like that, is to sort of bring people into it and just kind of demystify the process. So when people come knowing nothing, they have at least some little bits of information that they feel more confident going to a store and asking the right questions versus, I don't know, tell me what to get.
Yeah. No, it does need somebody to help you through, but it's a nice process to go through as well. I think people enjoy generally going through that whole thing.
Learning a bit about
Part of the
themselves
fun,
actually
isn't it?
and their heritage as well. And do you have customers from all over the States?
All over the States. We have, I'll say international, but it's, the vast majority, kind of, we're pigeonholed because of the name, USA Kilts. But we have customers all over the U.S. We do the majority of our stuff through our website. But we have Canadians, we have Australians, we have Germans, we have Japanese, Brazilian, like all over the world kind of thing, as I'm sure you guys do as well.
No, we're like yourself. I mean, we supply on a global scale, but yeah, I mean, it's interesting. It's intriguing that you have this set up in here, and people can come in and just. We don't do that, of course, as a wholesaler, but for you guys, it's ideal where they can come in and look up their clan heritage, or their affiliation to who it might be with their name and things like that. And do you get much Irish? Because I see you've got Irish here. Do you get much Irish call for Irish tartans?
Yeah, it's I would say, as far as customer base, there's Irish tartans and there's also Irish customers, whether they are getting a specific county tartan or whether they're just getting a tartan that they like or a universal one, or Irish accessories. I would say 30 to 40% are probably Irish. It's a good amount. In the U.S., a lot of Irish people want to kind of view it as more of like a pan-Celtic garment than just Scottish.
Of course, you have the Celts, which is Irish, the Scots, and the Welsh, basically, really. And things, and they all say, well, the Irish, of course, claim that they, and I say claim that they invented the tartan, but we all know that's not right.
It's all very friendly.
It's all very friendly.
Oh, I know. There's the oldest tartan bit was in the Tarim Basin in China, and a couple thousand years ago.
That was because a Scot went travelling, of course.
Exactly, of course. Time travel.
Time travel.
We got our new American Dream tartan, which you guys have done for us. I think it came out very well. So we're very pleased with all that.
Really nice,
Yeah, I think the subtlety of the different blends of red and blends of blue really give it a different dimensionality.
Yeah, it's a very it's a beautiful kilt, but it's also a very nice statement as well. It's lovely, I think, when you get these stories, and to have something that is sort of reflecting American culture, but also very, very strongly Scottish. It's nice, very nice.
Thank you. Did you see the video we did for it?
I did, yes, yeah.
very, very good. I mean, I think it's lovely. I mean, when we were making it, it's just a nice tartan.
Yeah.
It's just a nice tartan with a nice story behind it, which is what you want.
Yeah, it's very difficult to get the right shade of red and blue, so it doesn't have that purple
look about it.
Yeah. So no, I'm very pleased, and you guys were great to work with on it. And we do our Argyle jackets over here, as well as the tweed jackets, and some of our just off the rack kilts and polyvisco stuff, just for people who want to come in, grab a kilt, and go. Something they want to go to the pub and play Highland games. They don't want to
somebody can
muck up a good kilt.
It's a fun
drinking kilt.
Exactly, pub kilt. Yep.
So on your jackets, Rocky, is the tweeds the most popular? Are they, as far as your customer base is concerned, or is it the formal Prince Charlie, or is it the Argyle, or what's the?
The Argyle is probably 2 to 1 our best seller over the Prince Charlie. Tweeds are kind of catching up. The advantage to Argyles is that they're ready. Boom, 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 done. The tweed jackets, vests, we do a lot of custom ones. We do offer some off the peg, but for the most part, people want to play around with it. I want this particular tweed and this particular, gauntlet cuff. I want the braided epaulettes or the flat epaulettes and da-da-da-da-da.
Yeah. Nice thing is, once you've got your kilt, you can switch the jacket and you create a completely different look. It goes from evening to more a day thing, and you've got that versatility you can build around.
Absolutely.
Yeah, no, it's an interesting. You've got a nice mix. And these ones are ones that you've basically got the fabric and chosen specific colours to go with a specific, for instance, the grey with the grey kilt there kind of thing. And would you match that kind of thing up?
Yes. Now these are stock colors from our supplier. And these are ones that they actually stock support. So we didn't choose them outside of, I'll have that color, I'll have this color, I'll have the gray.
It goes with the specific things,
Yes, exactly. Yeah. And the gray is probably, even though it's not tweed technically, this is probably the most popular. And this one, any guy, either with salt and pepper or with gray hair.
I know. My head would blend in with that, I have to say. So.
Exactly. No, but it's so smart. It's so classy looking.
Grey's still massively popular. With our jackets, we've got about 10 different styles / colour. The grey's still the most popular. Although Midnight is catching up, which is a dark colour, which is that kind of thing, but darker. But the grey's still the biggest one. But we're seeing in Scotland, certainly there's still a big market for the traditional tartans, which is why we've got so many, but the greys are with the younger generation, when they're getting married, they're going more for that kind of more, it's not a traditional look, it's more of a fashion look, basically. Right. So the grey kilt, the grey jacket, the grey socks, the whole thing.
Right.
Nice. It's just an evolution, but there's still, we still do a heck of a lot of the main tartans of the traditional tartans.
Yeah.
But no, you've got a lovely mix, I have to say.
Nice, thank you.
When people are ordering a kilt, are they generally taking a jacket with it as well and the accessories?
It depends on...
Piecemeal?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
It depends on what they're doing. Yeah. If they want a full outfit for an event or something like that, then yes, they're going to be buying a full package. Yeah. If they're just looking for a pub kilt or a lower end kilt or just not really dressing it up as much, then it's just the kilt or a t-shirt instead of a jacket and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So how long have you're the new owner, how long have you been in the industry in textile, and you came from textiles?
I've been in textiles for 19 years, so over half my working life. But if you've not done your whole life in textiles in Scotland, then you're a new boy. So I'm still a new boy in the industry, and just 2 months with House of Edgar, so still very, very new.
So what brought you to what inspired you to want to buy McNaughton Holdings?
We've got a small number now of these great old mills who are really, really respected. They're doing a fantastic job. But a company like Mike Norton's, I mean, it's been in the same family for 7 generations. In fact, the 8th generation is still in the business with us.
Right.
And they need to keep going into the future. I mean, it's part of our heritage. It's really important for that Scottish culture. So it's lovely to be able to take a company like that, which is, you know, a beautiful old company, and take it forward into the next era.
So what inspired, but you personally, did you just have a fever dream? Were you in the shower and was like, you know, I should buy a mill?
Yeah, no.
What brought you to the House of Edgar and McNaughton's?
I knew these guys before, so I knew Blair McNaughton, and I knew James Dracup, who's been the managing director for the last 6 years.
Right.
And I always admired the company, and we'd spoken a long time before, and I thought, you know, what a great, clever, well-respected business it was. And then it was at the right time when the family was looking for what their succession plan would be, and I was looking for what my next move would be. So it was a little bit of serendipity, to be honest with you.
Yeah, as these things tend to be.
As these things tend to be. And it, you know, it took a little bit of time to get things sorted out. But yeah, I'm delighted that we can, delighted for me, but delighted as well that, you know, we've got a company which has now got a clear plan for the future. So
what, how does it feel taking on the mantle of a company with that much history, knowing that you're the first, and this is not meant to sound like a gotcha type question, knowing that you are the first non-McNaughton to own the company. How does it feel taking that on and the history of it? How do you kind of square that with, you know, how you're going to take it forward?
Yeah, it's kind of scary now you say it like that.
It's my job to intimidate and scare you, of course.
Yeah, I mean, it was founded in 1783. It's the 2nd oldest family company in Scotland. So I mean, there's a responsibility in that. You know, but I mean, you always want to look after the company you're working with anyway. But I mean, there's an extra level of responsibility to look after that. So yeah, I mean, you feel that. You know, you feel. You know, this is my responsibility to make sure these people, these skills, these crafts, this tradition is kept going. But I mean, that's what I signed up for. So I'm excited about that part of it.
Yeah, as entrepreneur to entrepreneur, I get it.
Yeah,
It's knowing that, you know, everyone around you relies on you and your vision to drive it forward. It's exhilarating and scary at the same time.
Yeah,
but
yeah, absolutely. But you know, the scariness is what makes it exhilarating.
Exactly,
so, you know,
and you wouldn't have it any other way.
And you know, it's a great team, and there's people like Bill here who've got, you know, decades of experience. I won't say how many decades of experience in the industry, who, you know, have tremendous skills, and we've got brilliant skills in the organisation. You know, the capability of the craftspeople, the skills of the people who are making the kilts, the skills of the people who are making the cloth. You know, there is absolutely so much talent in the organisation. And my job is just to help them do their job. So, you know, thankfully they're not relying on me to make a kilt or to weave fabric, because, you know, that wouldn't work.
Yeah, that's a sign of any good organization, is when it's essentially can run itself and you're just there to kind of make sure you're just turning the dials a little bit and, you know, putting bumpers on the road. You're not in there, you know, having to overhaul everything.
Absolutely.
So, yeah, it's definitely nice to come into a company. I would imagine it's nice to come into a company that's already a well-oiled machined, than something that's in shambles and you got to go, right, how am I going to fix all this?
Absolutely. No, and it's, you know, they've had 240 years to get this machine working perfectly. So yeah.
Nice. All right, I'll take you upstairs. We'll show you a little bit of production now.
So, what's your ratio of 5 to 8 yard kilts in, Rookie?
Probably 2 to 1, 2.5 to 1.
On the 5 yard side.
Yards. Correct. Yeah. It's, well,
is that a choice?
Let's say 2. Let's say 2 to 1.
Is that a choice that you've made, or your customer base?
Customers made. It is our job to offer things to people and and educate them to whatever degree they want to be educated on the differences between the things and where they want to land price point wise. So they'll, you know, a lot of times if price is a big concern, they'll either do a lower end kilt, or they will say, okay, well, I'm a Carmichael and that's not available in PV. Okay, fine, I'll get a wool one. What's the least expensive wool one that you have? We'll move them to that. or other times it's nope, it's for my wedding. You know, cost isn't a
Money's
factor.
no object.
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Exactly.
Fantastic. It's a lovely unit you've got here, nice and bright. Bit hot, but nice and bright.
Yeah. It's also why we have all the windows, so we can, you know, during the winter time, leave the windows open. Don't have to have any heat. So the
So how many would you make in a week?
how many kilts do we make in a week?
In this factory, part of the factory, basically.
It depends. It depends which style of kilt. If it's our casual kilt, it can be, you know, 5 kilts a day ish. If it's our semi-traditional, 2.5 a day per person.
Yeah.
5-yard wool kilt about 2 a day. 8-yard wool kilt about 1 a day. But it's not a production line process.
yeah.
It is one person making one kilt,
So
soup to nuts.
one person up there would make a kilt, and that person would make a different kilt, etc.
Correct.
Et cetera. Yeah.
Correct.
From start to finish.
Yep. They all have to know, you know, each tartan what it is. We have, you know, cheat sheets and that kind of thing as well.
Yeah.
But they have to go over, collect it, put it on the table, mark it out, cut the appropriate amount of cloth,
Yeah.
and then everything soup to nuts is one person.
And you have 2 cutters, 1 cutter, feeding that.
One person.
One person feeding that.
No. Each person does their
Oh,
own
they
cutting.
even cut there as well?
Yeah.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
right. I thought I was doing
It's a lot of women, but they are strong, dude. Like, strong like ox.
Well, all women are like that.
I
have to
know.
say that I've met.
I know. Sophie was a professional bodybuilder.
That's it, we're leaving.
Yeah.
So they actually cut their own fabric and everything.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. It also gives and this is not disparaging the way that other companies do it, but it gives the individual kilt maker, I found at least when I was doing it, more of a sense of pride when you're doing
producing a
everything
garment.
soup to nuts, and it's
Get that.
I made this thing by myself, and when the customer gets it and sends pictures and like, oh yeah, it fits, and you know, this person made it for me, we pass that along to the kilt
Yeah.
maker, and be like, hey, you made this for this person. Look at the joy you've brought to them.
And here's their thanks, a nice letter or a postcard or a picture or whatever it might be.
Yeah. Exactly. So how does this compare to like the size of Edgar's? I know you have 2 facilities, one for cutting and whatnot with fabric, and another one for the
Yeah,
kilt
we
making.
cut everything in Perth, basically. Cut and mark out in Perth. Everything's marked out individually by chalk, chalked up. You have the pleat to set, pleat to stripes, and of course everything's different. Tartans, all the different.
Yep.
So and we do that up in Perth, and we do the finishing of hand sewing in Perth as well. Some of that because Paisley is busy on the kilt making itself, so everything gets done there. Once it's all marked, etc., down to Paisley. Every day there's a shipment goes out, and every day there's a shipment comes back by carrier, and then when that comes back, they finish the hand sewing on the lining, the hand sewing part, and then they get shipped out. But the Paisley factory will be probably not much bigger as this, Rocky, to be honest with you.
Okay.
Yeah, we have the Hoffman press that we use for the pressing as well as the industrial irons, and they'll have their stations. One big cutting table, but that's for the scout neckerchiefs and things we do there as well. All the cutting and everything else it's basically a big part of the process in Perth, and then the big part of the process in Paisley, and then the finishing off in Perth again. And that only recently happened because we were so busy at Paisley, we had to bring the finishing off part back to Perth.
That's a good problem to have.
One of the issues is getting staff. I mean, I don't know how you find that, getting staff. It's like,
Yeah. During the pandemic, it's definitely been it's been a challenge.
yeah.
And now we're in America, so you put an ad in the paper, hey, kilt makers needed. Crickets. You get nothing. But so we're bringing them in, and as long as they have either a passion for sewing or a passion for the culture, that's what gets people in the door.
I mean, there's not a plethora of kilt makers in Scotland either.
Yeah.
It's a rare skill, and you have to look after those people who've got it, and it takes a long time to train people up to full
In
full
Scotland,
capability.
it used to be Granny or Mum would train Mum. Mum would train Mum, or Granny would train the grandchild, or some, in the houses and things like that. They used to work. The actual factory kilt making was never really there. We were probably the first ones to do something like that, because we had the shop in Pitlochry where we were getting kilt orders coming in, and you had to send it to this Jeannie McCall who lives on top of Ben Nevis, and then another one to this person. Another. So over a period, you've got all these kilts all over the place, and who the heck's tracking that for a start off?
Yeah.
And all this, and so we decided, well, why don't we offer it as a one-stop shop, which was the sensible thing to do, and then that just grew from there and grew and grew and grew.
Yeah.
But we've still got the kilt school in Scotland, which is up in right literally opposite our mill in Keith, and that's about a year's course, and they have to make, I think it was 10 kilts.
Are you associated with the Keith School or no?
We helped set it up all the
Okay.
years ago. The Highland wear industry is a very niche industry, as you know. Now in Scotland, there's only manufacturing-wise 4 companies really. Ourselves, Local.
Yeah, massive.
You know, the bigger ones. We've got one down south, which you know about. We won't talk about them. But then we've got Inglesbucken a little bit, you know, and
Right.
Strathmore a wee bit. You know, and
Yeah.
that's it. So you know, you're not seeing thousands of people running in to be kilt makers. And there's one of our customers. He has a school that he runs, but it's like a week's program. And,
Yeah.
You know,
It's a short course.
It's a short course, and that's for me. It's a wee bit too short. But anyway, I don't know how they work that. So that's, you know. But getting actual fully qualified kilt makers, they are like hen's teeth.
Yeah.
You know, they really
You
are.
have to train people up in house really now. You know, you're not seeing people on every street corner. You know,
Yep.
so you've
Now
got-
you have
you've gotta
to
keep investing.
train them how you want it done, because there's also 100 different ways to skin a cat.
Well, that's right. I mean, we've just got an order in for a company in Europe, and they're looking for box pleats, military box pleats.
Right.
There's only one person in your company can do that.
Yeah.
You know, because it's a different skill. You know.
Right. Carol?
Correct.
Yep.
So she's got to be doing them, but it's for a pipe band, so that's got to take a bit of time because
Yeah,
she'll
yeah.
have to do a lot of that herself by hand. And these are the kind of things you learn over a long period of time. But no, it's an interesting industry, and you know, I don't know why they're not more interested in it, because there's more people now wearing kilts in Scotland. You know, you've got a Scottish wedding now. The guy in the suit is the guy who stands out. You know, everybody else is wearing their attire. You know, their full Highland wear attire.
Yeah.
So you'd think more people would think, oh, listen, I could get into that, and you know, but it's difficult.
It's connecting the dots from A to B or A to D kind of thing.
Yeah.
I like wearing this. Maybe I could do that. Like it almost seems daunting. Like it's the kilt. It has the mystique. It has a thing. It's pretty
It's
involved.
interesting now as well, though. I think though that there's a movement to some extent with the younger generation in Scotland, as I said before, moving away from some of the traditional ones. Look, if your name's Gordon or something, they might still have a Gordon kilt. But a lot of the young ones want to use the greys and things like that because it's a little bit more modern. So, you know, and that, I think that maybe gets them into maybe hopefully a bit more thought process. Listen, this looks great. It's a fashion thing now, so I'm really working in the fashion industry rather than just the Highland wear market, if you understand what I mean, which is very niche. So, you know, hopefully there'll be more coming through, but it is difficult to get people to that level.
Right.
But it is a real profession, and I think once people do it and they get their hands on it, and as you say, they get that pride of making something, then they stay. You know, it's just getting them to understand, you know, this is what you can do. But you get a kid out of school and you put them into that environment and you give them the pleasure of making something, you know, they'll stay with you for a long time.
Yeah, I think it's personally, you get a lot more out of that than you would sitting in front of a computer as an IT person. But that's not criticising IT people, that's just a personal thing that you're seeing something develop in front of your eyes that you are making.
Yeah.
You know, and then at the
It's
end,
the pride of
it's
crafting
the pride of
something
the
yourself.
crafting,
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. And,
Unlike videographers.
which I think are great, by the way.
Cinematographers, thank you very much.
Yeah, they're even better, by the way. Crawl, I don't know.
So as the new incoming owner, are you still finding your feet within it and kind of assessing things? Or do you have an idea, okay, well, I want to change this or change that, or I want to move the company this direction? Or are you kind of in just, you know, treading water, like, okay, I like where it is, I'm not moving too much?
Mostly that. Mostly that. You know, because it's easy, I think, when you come into an organisation, it's easy to sort of break things. You know?
Yes.
And obviously it doesn't need broken, it's working extremely well. I mean, there's things will move on, but they're things that the team to be honest, the things that the team wants to move on. You know, they're not things I've come in with my experience of a completely different textile business. They're things that the team will want to develop as they go forward. So yeah, it's always changing, it's always evolving, but the core business, particularly on, you know, for the House of Edgar, is the same. You know, it has to be the same. It's a very, very traditional product.
No, I'm not just saying that's because he's here. You're blessed with a good team in Bill and Nick and others, and their history in the company and their ability to think for the company, what's best for the company, and what's best for our customers to kind of move forward. I remember when my first conversation with Bill was at the trade show in New Jersey, and walked in, and he had just come back to the company, and one of the first things he's like, Rocky from USA Kilts, nice to meet you. Is there anything I can, how are you finding our company? Is there anything that, any questions or any comments? And I was like, do you really want my opinion? And he's like, yes, please. And I was like, your customer service sucks. And it was fast friends right then. It's like, right, tell me more. But it's the ownership he took of the situation and the pride he has in the company. It was nice to see that type of shift. So,
and I think that's why, when I meet other customers in Scotland, that's what they say to me. They say, your people care, and they need a company supplying them to care, because when you've got a bride getting married on Saturday, the groom needs to be in his kilt and it needs to look immaculate, so you need that passion, and you need to actually care. The last thing they want is somebody to phone up and say, your stuff's not arriving. That is the end of the world. So it needs that passion, it needs that care. Bill's agreed to stay with us for another 20 years, so that's really good.
Sweet. So. He's not allowed to die. I have a couple of those, right, Mac?
I was never sure. I signed for 20.
And obviously Carol, Bill's wife, is in the business looking after our kilt making as well. So I mean, it's really important that those key people are given the responsibility and the authority to do what they do, and to continue to look after their customers. Yeah,
it's a measure of a company is not what is done when things are going right. It's what happens when things go wrong. So it's I found you guys are at the top of your game. I'll put it politically correctly and say at the top of your game.
And I've been around textiles long enough to know that things go wrong. Things happen. It's not like doing an assembly line. These are natural materials, and that creates variances, and that creates the opportunity for things to happen. So you've got to be prepared for that, and you've got to react, like it's your wedding.
Yep.
That's the key.
Indeed.
Yeah.
All right, I'll take you guys over. We'll go check out the marketing area.
There is that slingshot effect, you're absolutely right. And I mean, in Scotland now, they're still talking about weddings being booked for 2024, 25 even. Because of the pandemic, there was a period of 2 years where people just couldn't get married, of course. There was no venues for the receptions, etc., because all the hotels were closed and things. So all that backlog, and it had to get catapulted forward. Now the problem is that people have got their weddings booked in advance. So these people were trying to book in advance, but they couldn't because these slots were taken. So they've either went out, or what's happening is the hire business especially now is where you would normally pick up your kilt outfit on a Thursday for the wedding on the Saturday, bring it back on the Monday. It would get cleaned, back out again. People are getting married on sort of Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday now, and Saturday, Sunday. So these hire guys are really struggling to keep up with how do I get the stuff out, in, cleaned, ready to go out again.
Right.
So that's helping the manufacturers, because we're obviously seeing more to help these guys, more business coming through that way as well. And that seems to be quite long term at the moment, the way they're seeing it.
Are you guys seeing an uptick in kilt business for the hire trade, and to supply that kind of?
Yeah, both. I mean, the jackets is a prime example, but we're under big pressure with that at the moment. But it's the right kind of pressure for us. The kilts, yes, we're under a lot of pressure there again. But again, it's the right pressure for us. You don't want to be sitting about wondering where the next outfit will come from.
Yeah.
You want to be thinking, how am I going to get the next 4 outfits out because I'm already at capacity. So that's where we're at, and we're addressing these things. And you know, and I think as long as we're doing that, we will stay at the pinnacle where we are. We're getting these things done for everybody. What you said before, which was very kind, thank you very much. It was a bit embarrassing. I hope you can sort of tone down the red face a wee bit there. But you know, we'll strive to get the best we can all the time. You can't stop.
Yeah.
It has to be push.
It's there. It's
Yeah,
there. You got to just
you've got to go for it.
make hay while the sun shines.
Make hay
as
when
they
the sun
say.
shines, and I think we're in the position where you know, we've got that capability, and we've got the opportunity, and that's where we've got to keep going. We have to do that. So, and that's across the whole company. That's not just the Highlander. That's the soft furnishings and everything else. So, but yeah, we're focused. We're very focused.
I think as well, we never see interest in kilt wearing diminishing in Scotland. It just goes from generation to generation. You know, it goes from the father to the son. Sometimes they're passing down the kilts from the father to the son, and it's, you know, that tradition's keeping going. And I think this year as well, very sad event, obviously, with the Queen's funeral, but it created a showcase for that Scottish Highland wear look around the world. So I think there's, you know, the interest in that has never been as strong in recent years. So I think people have seen just how beautiful that can look, you know, and obviously, you know, very, very memorable moments in which that whole Highland wear look was at the centre stage of what was done. So, you know, obviously, very sad event, but you know, wonderful to see Scotland showcased very, very clearly on the world stage.
Yeah, and it was, you know, over here it was. I don't think I'm going out of turn by saying it was beautiful. Is, you know, the whole way it was
fair.
done. You know, the respect generally shown. There's always going to be internet trolls, but
Yeah, sure.
the respect shown, the process, the grieving, like the whole thing was just, it was beautifully showcased. Now,
I think that was very deliberate from the Queen. She was very, very passionate about Scotland. She was very, very, you know, she believed in that vision of Scotland, and she very much wanted that to be part of her celebration.
Yeah. Now, did you, like, talking about the groundswell of things that have been moving quickly recently? Did you have those types of pressures in your previous experience, or is this new and different because it's more manufacturing of goods as well as fabric?
Well, I think for a lot of Scottish textile industry, the problem we have is we make a lot of very seasonal products. The good thing about making Highland wear and kilts is all year round, every single day of the year. You know, there are people going to events, there are people getting married. So it is a very, very nice business from that point of view, because you're never totally quiet. You might get times it's a little bit more quiet, and times it gets a little bit more buried, a bit more busy. But generally speaking, there's demand all the time, and demand from year to year to year. You know, this is not something that is a fashion fad that next year, you know, you're not going to sell it. And that's the beauty. I mean, if you invest in a kilt, you can be wearing it in 40 years, 50 years' time. You can hand it down to your son, you know? So, yeah, it's an investment, but it's a fantastic investment for the future.
Yeah, and I like one of the things that's always, you know, I loved about the industry in general is the fact that you're not at the whims of the public as far as I don't like this color, it's not in this season, or I don't like that thing. It's very just fluid, and it goes forever, and you don't have to worry about, you know, am I going to sell as much Gordon this year as I did last year?
That's it.
It's you know that it's essentially going to go as long as Highland wear is popular.
Yeah. No,
hopefully till the end of time.
I have never had that in the textile industry before, where I can have inventory in the warehouse that hasn't sold for 4 years, but it's still good inventory because that person will come in with that clan and that name, and they will buy that, which is fantastic. So obviously we've got some things that sell every week because it's a big clan, it's a popular tartan, but we stock over 1,000 tartans. I think most people, even in Scotland, don't realise that there are so many tartan options. But that just means that it can be personal. It can be, you know, something that you're not likely to see on someone else.
This is our studio, or wee studio we got here.
My God.
Wires and tape everywhere, so.
Wow.
Don't stand
Careful,
on the wires.
Yeah.
Well, it's like being at home.
If you have this much lighting and equipment in your house, I have concerns.
Thank you.
Yeah.
This is amazing, actually. It's absolutely amazing.
Now, when you guys do videos, do you do like your promotional videos and stuff? Do you hire out to somebody? Do you have a team? Do you have a vision? How does that work for you guys?
Yeah, we would for a proper photo shoot. You'll have seen some on the website and things like that. So we will go to a stately home or an estate or something like that and get the models with the various outfits on, mix and match with the jackets that we make, and do that outside and maybe a bit inside with the guys with a glass of whiskey. It's a bit twee sometimes, but it's that. But the other times it's just quality shots showing people what they can have. Just selling the product to them, and then we also have stuff we can do inside. That's not so professional as this setup you have here, of course. I don't think the BBC is actually, to be fair.
I'm putting air quotes around professional.
But yeah, so we kind of use both. It depends what it is. I mean, if you're having a really big launch, you want the professionals in looking to help you out with that, and they can help update. And when you do a photo shoot like that, a professional one, there's always the excess pictures and excess film and that. So you can use that and update things as you go along as well with these people that we have internally. And so we have a bit of a mix and match. Yeah. But marketing's it's a big thing. It's a big thing. I mean,
you're telling me.
I'm barking, bro. No, it's because actually, like yourself, I mean, we're global. And there's big markets for Highland wear, which a lot of people think is strange. But there's big markets in Germany and France and all these countries for Highland wear. And so you have to reach out to these countries as well. But you're showcasing what you've got there. I mean, a lot of the Scots, they know they're Scots. So they've got an idea of what they're looking for and that. So you're trying to bring Scotland to these countries, in the right fashion, so that when they're looking at that, thinking, I could look like that. Yep. My great granddad came from Scotland. I'm French or I'm a German or whatever a country it could be, Australia, New Zealand. I mean, you were all over. But Europe's a funnier one, I think, because you wouldn't think there'd be a huge. Well, France, I suppose, big Scottish contingency with all the lines. But Germany, maybe less so. But Australia, New Zealand, Canada, these places.
The Germans are weird, so it's fine.
No, not at all. Listen, we do great business there. And I went to it was a bit strange, I have to say. It was a bit bizarre. I got invited to a Highland Games by one of our customers in Germany, biggest customer. He was ex-military.
Is it Doug?
No, Donald.
Donald.
Donald. So that's right. So he married a German lass. He was the military police in Germany, and he started his kilt making business and invited me to go across as a guest. And he had this up on his website. He was. Anyway,
the great Bill Wheelan comes to bless us with his presence.
Well, it was bizarre. There was people coming on and just lining up almost to speak to you, and you're thinking, this is like, where is my makeup and lights?
Where's my trailer?
Where's my trailer? Yeah. But when I went to the games, there was Germans, and they had try to live like they would live in the sort of 12th century and things like that. They had a big cauldron cooking their food in it. Yeah. They were dressed up like this.
Was it a Renaissance fair or was it?
No, this was a Highland Games.
It was a Highland Games.
Yeah, and they had when you walked in the gate, they had all this at one side, and these guys were dressed with the long hair and the tartan round about them wrapped up in the Philly beg style and things like that. And then you went, and all the clan tents were there, and then they had tossing the caber. They had Highland Games. They had judges in doing piping competitions, grade 3 to be fair, but still nonetheless. And it was quite bizarre because this is in a small town in Germany. Yeah, and you're thinking, wow.
Yeah.
It was next to an American air base actually, so we had a lot of Americans coming in to find out about their ancestry and things. But it was great, absolutely fantastic, but not what I expected to find in a small German town. So it just shows you how popular the culture, I suppose, is, the Scottish culture, across the world, basically, anywhere. So, but the Scots, they travel everywhere, of course.
Of course. Now, are you looking forward to visiting things like that, or is that you're more focused on our homebody?
No, I like to travel. So, hopefully I'll get a chance to get around and see some of those customers around the world. it's always a warm reception, and it's always a warm reception if you go anywhere and you are wearing a kilt. That's a great icebreaker in any event. So,
Right.
yeah. Unfortunately, my luggage allowance didn't allow it today, but it is a fantastic thing to travel in a kilt and carry that Scottish identity with you.
Nice.
Plus our peely-wally white legs.
It's very true.
Look bad on your film. We don't get the sunshine you guys get. Our kilts get an outing, but we still cover our legs up with the hose.
In the States, it's kind of depends on the individual event. It's a mishmash. It
Yeah,
can be
yeah,
more
yeah.
current day fun stuff, or it can be a bit more pipe band focused, or it could be more period focused.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of just a different angle on a similar kind of event, if that makes sense.
So how many shows or Highland Games would you do in a year?
One.
Just you only do the one.
Yeah, we used to do 3. We did there was one Irish fair. It was more of an Irish festival in Dublin, Ohio, and that was just it's a long drive. I live 2 miles from work.
Right. Okay.
I do not travel.
Yeah.
I figured out the math, and they're not going to care about this, but I'm going to say it anyway because I think it's funny. Because I travel 5 minutes for work, not 45. I can work an extra 43 days a year
Instead of travel time.
instead of travel time. Or if I'm going to be a family man, spend 43 more days with my kid and with my wife
Yeah.
instead of travel time.
Yeah.
But the what was the question? Oh, how many games do we do?
games,
Yeah. We did one in Ohio. We did one at it was at the Pennsylvania Renaissance Fair. They have like a Celtic weekend.
Okay.
So we did that one, and then we do Bethlehem Celtic Classic, which is a very, very big one. It's about an hour from here.
That was the one you've just basically launched the American
Correct.
Dream up, basically.
Yep.
Yeah.
So that one is a huge festival. So it's the other ones. We like them both, but we didn't do. I forget why we didn't do the Celtic Fling this year. But we did. The only one we've been doing for the last couple of years has been Celtic Classic.
Yeah. I mean, you have to be selective on these things because of the cost as well, of course, and getting back and forward, setting up the stand, and generally, excuse me, when people come on the stand, the first thing you get is what's new. So you have to sort of develop new product for these things as well. In tartans, and it could be new sporrans. I've got this new range of sporrans, or whatever it may be. So they're generally looking for something new if you're there on an annual basis. Sometimes it's not a bad thing to drop out for a couple of years and then go back.
Yes and no, because then people start wondering what happened to him. Why aren't they here? And the rumors
rumor mongers
start.
come out and go, it must have went bust.
Yeah.
Yeah. We've seen that at New Jersey at Secaucus, the show there. If someone didn't turn up, it was like, they must have went bust. No, not necessarily. They're just not here this year.
Yeah.
For various reasons. COVID, maybe.
There's this little thing, it's been going around.
Yeah. So, but no, interesting.
But wait, there's more. This is only just the first half of our 2-part interview with House of Edgar. In the next part, we actually sit down for a full hour talk. You can see that video right over here. If you want to see more of our Tartan Talk interviews, check out that playlist down there.